everyone, how are you Scooby-Dooby doing? My name is Dana and I love Scooby-Doo because I grew up with it and it's just a comfort film / program to this day. So come join the Scooby-Doo journey with me. Fun fact, this episode was not on my Volume 3 DVD after she sees sea monsters by the seashore like it was supposed to be, but was in fact on Volume 10 where it's not supposed to be. So for some reason on the DVDs it's in the wrong order. This is the 10th episode of my podcast, and although it's only November, it's a Christmas episode. I'm quite looking forward to Christmas. My favourite thing about Christmas is definitely the food. I love the Christmas sandwiches, all the different flavoured hot chocolates you can get, and especially Lebkuchen. So this episode is about What's New Scooby-Doo Season 1 Episode 10, A Scooby-Doo Christmas. And I will be talking about this episode and also giving my best bits about it. You should definitely check out the What's New Scooby-Doo series if you haven't already, because these episodes are really good. I grew up watching them, so I might be a little biased, but other people like this series too, so go watch it if you're looking for a Scooby-Doo fix. So I've just started on my Volume 10 DVD, Gentlemen Start Your Monsters, and the opening scene came on first. Finally! This hasn't happened since Season 1 Episode 3, 3Destruction. So when I watched Season 1 Episode 4, Big Scare in the Big Easy, I noticed for the first time that the opening theme came before the opening scene, and I've been documenting it ever since. As this is on my Volume 10 DVD, which is the last volume, I don't know when it changes, so I'm still going to document it. Sorry! The opening scene, we see 4 children walking around a snowy wood. One of the children seems to be leading the other children to a huge snowman. A child dares the leader, who is called Tommy, to grab the carrot from the snowman's nose. As he reaches for the carrot, the snowman comes alive and seems angry at the children. The snowman tries to scare them and throws his head at them. Tommy says it's the headless snowman. It fades to black. There's no opening theme. We do have a little intro with the gang in the Mystery Machine driving while a song is played, but it's a Christmassy song. Also, the Mystery Machine has a Christmas wreath around the spare tyre at the front. The gang are driving to Daphne's uncle's condo that he's let them stay at. I know Daphne comes from money due to the other series and films, but the amount of times someone from her family is the reason they're going somewhere is a lot. You had her uncle in 3Destruction who sent Daphne and the gang to the opening of the museum in Costa Rica. They stayed at her father's company timeshare last episode. She sees sea monsters at the seashore, and now her uncle has let them stay at a condo in this episode of Scooby-Doo Christmas. The gang seem to get a lot of perks this way. Just to note that the gang are wearing warm / winter clothes, the same clothes they wore in There's No Creature Like Snow Creature. Also, Scooby is wearing a scarf. They are driving in the middle of a snowstorm and the gang gets stuck when a bridge is closed off. The gang drive to Winter Hollow to see if they can find a detour. Just as the gang exit the Mystery Machine, we see the kids from the opening scene run past them. Shaggy notices a giant snowman, but it looks normal again. As the gang walk away, Shaggy and Scooby stare at the snowman for too long, and it changes to the evil snowman causing them to run away. The gang are greeted, well, I'm not sure you could call it that, but they were greeted, kinda, by a grumpy man who seems annoyed that there's out-of-towners there. He also tells them not to say the word Christmas because Winter Hollow doesn't celebrate Christmas. The grumpy man, whose name is Jeb, tells them about the headless snowman. Sheriff Ellen Perkins arrives and tells them that it's not real and that Jeb is making it up. The detour could take hours, so they decide to stay in Winter Hollow for the night. The gang go to an inn. It looks like it's packed. The gang think they're tourists, but the owner explains that they are townsfolk whose houses have been destroyed by the headless snowman. The owner, Asa Buckworth, seems to be profiting from this, if all the townsfolk that are staying at his inn are paying, but he doesn't seem to say. He does seem sad when he says some of the kids have never seen a Christmas tree before. He shows the gang to a closet, but Daphne remodels it into a bedroom for the gang. Scooby and Shaggy make a holiday sandwich which consists of a yam, marshmallow, and sweet relish. He can't find any bread, so he also uses fruitcake as the bread. It's quite a concoction of flavours. I'll stick to my Christmas sandwiches from the supermarkets and cafes. While in the kitchen, the ground shakes, and the gang run out to find that another chimney has been destroyed. Tommy is there, and Velma asks him what happened. He explains that he was waiting for Santa when the fire went out, and the headless snowman appeared inside and destroyed the fireplace. He then tearfully asks how Santa is going to come if they don't have a chimney. My heart really breaks for him, bless him. Although I didn't have a chimney in my old house when I was younger, and my mum told me that Santa has a key to everyone's house, just in case, so don't despair. Shaggy tries to make him feel better by telling him they would build it back up, but he can hardly lift one of the bricks, which seems odd. The gang go out to look for the Headless Snowman, but the snowman finds them. They have a chase scene with the Headless Snowman. The gang is sat in the inn where the owner tells them that Professor Higginson will be arriving soon. Apparently he wrote the book on Winter Hollow's ghost. Professor Higginson mentions that he would drive anywhere to get to see the ghost of Black Jack Brodie. Not sure who that is, so hopefully he can shed some light on that. The tale starts with a man, Seamus Fagan, travelling along an empty road in the snow. Black Jack Brodie was a highwayman and was laying in wait for any helpless travellers. He took the gold, but the villagers searched for him. When they found him, the blizzard had got him. We see the head of the snowman come off to show that Black Jack Brodie was inside. By the time they got to him, he was gone, covered in soot from a chimney. The gold still hasn't been found. The legend says he's still searching for it. My two thoughts are, either someone is using this legend as an excuse to look for the treasure, and that's why the chimneys are being destroyed, or Asa, the owner of the inn, is using the legend to bring in some more money. There's a potential third option of the owner of the inn and someone looking for the treasure to team up, but I'm not sure. Asa has a good motive so far. When told about Tommy's house, the professor realises it's one of the oldest and original houses in Winter Hollow and decides to check it out. The gang, however, decide to go to Jeb's house, as Asa mentioned it was the oldest house in Winter Hollow, and they're hoping to catch the Headless Snowman. The Headless Snowman arrives just as they suspected and tries to break down the fireplace and chimney, but then chases Scooby and Shaggy instead. Scooby and Shaggy end up losing the Headless Snowman when they find they're on a frozen lake, which breaks underneath them and plunges them into the icy water. The gang look for them and find the two in frozen blocks of ice. The gang warms them up. We then see Sheriff Perkins come out of a bush. She explains she was following footprints from Jeb's house. Seems a bit fishy, as this is the second time we see the sheriff right after we see the Headless Snowman. Bummer thinks it's strange. Jeb wants to get them out of town. They read the legend one more time and decide to go to the cemetery and split up. In a shocking twist, Fred tells Shaggy and Scooby to stay at the inn and get warm. Fred, Daphne and Velma go to the cemetery. Shaggy and Scooby sit by the fire trying to warm up, when the fire goes out and the room gets cold. The Headless Snowman comes down to get them. The Headless Snowman chases them. We see the gang and Fred seems to have made a trap. He mentions waiting for Shaggy and Scooby to lure the Headless Snowman to them, which means he just wanted Shaggy and Scooby to think they weren't bait. They catch the Headless Snowman with heat lamps everywhere and it melts. Who do you think the Headless Snowman is? I honestly don't know. I've never seen this episode before, now that I'm watching it, so I genuinely don't know who it is. I think it might be the sheriff because she seems shifty, or Asa Buckwold because of his inn getting more business, but I'm really not sure. Fred removes the head of the snowman to see a large metal point. The snow moves to reveal a metal cone. It opens and we see Professor Higginson. I'm shocked. I genuinely didn't think it was going to be him. Professor Higginson had researched the town and learnt about Black Jack Brodie and that he had hidden his gold. It must have been in a chimney because when he was found he was covered in soot. Professor William Fagan Higginson was a descendant of Seamus Fagan, who was robbed. Apparently this meant that Christmas for his family was ruined for many years. He refrigerated every home he went into to keep it cold for his snowman so it didn't melt. He says it was all for nothing. Velma figures out that the brick Shaggy couldn't lift at the beginning must have been a gold brick. They go back to Tommy's house and see that once you rub away the paint, they are gold bricks. Professor Higginson mentions that he'll probably have to go to jail, and it's just another reason why he hates Christmas. I kinda have no sympathy for him. He ruined Christmas for lots of other families and children, and caused damage to people's homes, and there has to be a repercussion for all of this. Why is he trying to get people to feel sorry for him? Tommy asks if they can all forgive him because it's Christmas. Professor Higginson asks why anyone would forgive him. Tommy forgives him and gives him his scarf. Also, they all decide that the gold is rightfully his because it belonged to his family. I'm really glad he decides to give the gold to the whole town because those people's homes are broken and that's not their fault. Scooby plugs in the Christmas lights on the Christmas tree and they all say Merry Christmas. Shaggy and Scooby gift each other a box of Scooby snacks. Everyone seems to be happy and has forgiven Professor Higginson, which is nice, especially as he did the right thing, which isn't something you see the villain in Scooby-Doo actually do very often. Scooby then says his catchphrase in a Christmas hat. Okay, so that was the end of the 10th episode of What's New Scooby-Doo, A Scooby-Doo Christmas. My best bit was the song at the beginning after the opening scene, Christmas Frights. I really enjoyed it. I also liked that the Mystery Machine had a Christmas wreath on the front of it. I also liked seeing Daphne renovate the closet into a whole bedroom. I found it funny, but also just cool that she managed to do that. I know it's a cartoon though, so not realistic at all. My worst bit was seeing all the families in the inn who had their homes destroyed. Also, the children having their Christmas ruined, some not ever seeing a Christmas tree. I just found it quite sad. My funniest bit was when Scooby was sniffing along the ground until he finds a mouse hole. He moves his nose out of the mouse hole to find a Christmas wreath on his nose. The mouse comes out and angrily takes it back inside its mouse hole. My favourite supporting character was Tommy Atkinson. I just think he seems like a very innocent child. He really cared about Christmas and Santa, especially at the end where he embraces the Christmas spirit and forgives Professor Higginson. I just found him to be a sweet kid, and he was my favourite supporting character this episode. Fun fact, the end credits for this episode are in red and green, traditional Christmas colours for the Christmas episode. This is the end of my 10th podcast episode. Thank you for listening. I wonder if you thought the same as my best, worst and funniest bits. Was Tommy your favourite supporting character this episode? Whether you agreed or disagreed, I'd love to know your thoughts about this episode, and I may even feature them in my next episode. The next episode will be Season 1, Episode 11, Toy Scary Boo. So get ready to listen to the next podcast. There is a link in any of the episode descriptions to the transcript for that particular episode, or you can just go to my website and go to the blog page and pick the episode you want. If you want to ask any questions or even just mention anything you liked about this episode, you can go to my website, meddlingpodcast.com. That's meddlingpodcast.com, or you can email me at feedback@meddlingpodcast.com. You can DM me on Instagram at meddlingpodcast or on Twitter at meddlingp. I'd love to hear any of your thoughts about Scooby-Doo, whether it's this episode, another episode, or just Scooby-Doo in general. Thanks for listening and stay groovy.